Across the country, United Health Group is working with local partners to build healthier communities every day. That includes helping partners like the Good Acre provide 45,000 meals and lower A1C in the Twin Cities, and helping Hello Family doulas deliver 44% fewer underweight births in Spartanburg. Because building healthier communities starts by giving people access to the care and services they need to live healthier lives. Learn more at unitedhealthgroup.com/commitment.
And now, a special edition of the Toddcast podcast.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land. We are 154 years old, July 1st. The British North America Act passed on July 1st, 1867. It's not a milestone year, but yet it kinda is. BC's restart plan, bringing us back together after COVID, the pandemic, turning your life, my life, upside down for the last year and a half. But on July 1st, we've been given the thumbs up by the government to travel in Canada. 10 provinces, 3 territories, 9.98 million square kilometers. Sure beats the COVID lockdown in your house, doesn't it? July 1st, we're now allowed to indoor and outdoor gather with friends. We can have sleepovers. That's kind of fun. You'll see limited spectators for indoor sports. There's no group limit for dining. Casinos and nightclubs have been given the green light to get back to it. It's game on this Canada Day, and I hope you get to spend it with family and friends. My name is Todd Hancock. If you're a regular listener, thank you so much for being there. If you're new to the podcast, if you like what you're about to hear, please tell your friends and subscribe. We're on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud. You can see all of our interviews and live band performances on our YouTube channel. We're also on the Dean Blundell Network out of Toronto at deanblundell.com. Being that it is a Canada Day special podcast, this week you'll only hear from Canadian guests, 12 of them in total, so let's hit it. Highlights from some musical guest visits over the years. That's brought to you by Pineapple Sound, a recording and mixing studio in Langley since 2013. They also welcome podcasts, voiceover actors, and whatever else you can do in a studio. Check them out through pineapplesound.com. Slash's drummer Brent Fitz is a longtime friend of the podcast. Grew up in Winnipeg, Manitoba. You'll know him beyond Slash, though. He's played with Theory of a Deadman, Alice Cooper, Vince Neil, The Guess Who, Streetheart, Harlequin, Econoline Crush. He's a killer player, a great guy who's traveled the world and then some.
Because we travel all the time and get to, go to different countries, the one thing that I've learned is, as a Canadian and how we think as people in the country there. And then when I've gone to other, and I live in the United States, and I've been here many, many years now, and sometimes there's different, as an American living in America, and then as a Canadian growing up in Canada, and then traveling the world, I just find that sometimes I've learned that, people are quick to judge other places and countries, and I've been to some places that I never thought, let's say Beirut, Lebanon, it's like different other countries where I didn't know much about, but then you get over there and you're like, wow, these are one of the most beautiful places with the coolest people, or, like things I might have stereotypically heard just by being, you hear from other people, and then I go to these countries and I'm like, man, there's a lot of great places on the planet that I'm just glad I got to see with my own eyes and have an opinion on.
If the rock station that you listen to knows any better, Danko Jones is on the playlist. Been around since 1996. They released the debut in 1998. Puts on one hell of a rock show, one of the best, period. He was a guest around the time they released a Rock Supreme album, the one he recorded with Garth Richardson at the Farm. Speaking of Garth, we've been back and forth about booking some time with him on the podcast. I think you can expect that probably around the end of summer. But back to Danko Jones. Check out what he said about social media playing into his day-to-day life.
I'm on Instagram. I have 4 accounts, and Twitter. I'm on Twitter every day, but I'm not as active as I used to be. But Instagram is a great place to, and I think it's really the most popular. But I'm not on Facebook. The band is on Facebook, but I personally am not.
Why is that?
So I have a Facebook account, but it's only used if, they say, oh, can you write something about this thing that's happening? Or
right.
And then I'll just go in and I'll be able to do it quickly. But I'm not on Facebook personally. Instagram, I've got 4 accounts,
Right.
and those are all public.
David Gogo has been playing the guitar since the age of 5. He met Stevie Ray Vaughan at 15, and by 16, David was getting regular work as a musician. Played on stage with B.B. King, no doubt one of Canada's best bluesmen, Western Canadian Music Award nominated albums, Juno nominated albums, even a Juno disqualification?
Well, it's so crazy. I mean, and the 5 losses, could you imagine sitting there 5 different times and having to clap your hands and pretend you're not pissed off?
Yeah.
The disqualification was just some silly technicality, and but we kind of turned it around. We did the spin doctor thing and just got the most publicity we could out of it because,
Sure.
they told us we were nominated, so we turned around and, we book a showcase, we book our plane tickets. It was in Edmonton that year. And then we're told, oh, no, actually you're not nominated. So we tried to make the best out of it. And at the time, we did so well with the spin doctor maneuver, I thought, oh, God, I'll never be nominated again. But I have, probably 3 times since. So maybe they're just doing that to torture me. I don't know.
Right. It must feel good just to get the nomination in general, though, right?
Well, absolutely.
Sure.
Because, when you've been at it for as long as I have, it validates things, and it makes you feel like, I'm still achieving things, and I'm still being recognized.
Yeah.
And my first nomination was probably in 94, and the last one was probably about 4 years ago. So you think, at least I know where all the good parties are.
Right. You stretched 30 years of nominations, man. That's pretty impressive.
It's crazy.
It's pretty
crazy.
impressive, yeah. And Headstones started in 1987, almost 35 years ago, Kingston, Ontario. They paused the band from 2003 till they reformed in 2011. You've seen their singer Hugh Dillon in many roles over the years. We got talking about the one that got things rolling, playing Joe Dick in Hardcore Logo, and the importance of that movie.
Oh, it was everything. It taught me everything. Callum Rennie is, I think, the greatest actor in this country. And all those years ago, and I'll tell you why, because he's just got great instincts. But when somebody is not threatened and can teach you, that is the sign of greatness in my mind. And I wouldn't realize it till years later. Mm-hmm. But that guy and Bruce McDonald, brought me into this world with actors and technicians and just really creative, generous minds. It was such a great way in because the business isn't always like that. It can be, about the money, and it can be about egos and so many things that could turn you off and you just wouldn't pursue it. Because obviously I pursued, when I was younger, I had a dramatic arts teacher at KC where I went to school with the guys in the hip who just said, you should get into acting. And I just couldn't. I loved rock and roll. Music was the only thing for me at the time. There was just too many rules and too many opinions that other people had with acting that I just thought, this is just, a clusterfuck of horse shit. And I can't cope, and it just brings out the worst in me because it's people kind of pushing their agendas. And, I wanted to write my own songs and do my own thing. And Hardcore Logo showed me that this world of independent film and acting could be great.
Musical guests of the Toddcast podcast are powered by Pineapple Sound, providing recording and mixing services for a wide range of artists and genres since 2013. Check them out at pineapplesound.com.
Kicking dirt in my eye, spitting up my I can't believe how much I am in. Can't imagine, cannot begin to. In the dark, see it all makes sense. Nothing bad, nothing wrong. In the dark, some soul dialed in. Can't imagine, cannot begin to
If I'm programming a Canadian rock radio station, those guys are on the list every single day. They're Johnny Rath from the EP they just released last year. Great song for them. It's called In the Ducks. You should expect them to be back at it to the live scene now that the COVID restrictions are being lifted. The restart is underway. A great live band. They've played a couple podcast shows over the years. Definitely worth checking out. Coming up in a few minutes in Listen to This, LA Chargers defensive tackle Christian Covington talking about the power of sacrifice. It's something that we should all keep in mind. Some sage advice from an NFLer. It's powered by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley, RV service and repair, ICBC accredited. Find them online through TedcoRVSuppliesInc.com, also on Facebook, also on Twitter. First, more guest highlights in our Canada Day 2021 podcast and some of our past sporting guests, all of whom are brought to you by Joyce Heating Services, family owned and operated, heating the Lower Mainland since 1960. Now, we had retired BC Lion Angus Reid through the studio early on in the podcast. I think it was probably around year 2. He's a super inspirational guy, a riveting speaker, opened up about his gambling problems as well, and whether retiring from playing professional football was tough to do.
No. Well, I mean, it is and it isn't. I was 20 some odd years of continuous football, but I knew it was time to leave, and I was able to be probably one of those few athletes that was my decision. You know, right. Usually it's imposed on you. You get cut, you get released, whatever. I was able to come to Wally and say, you know what, I have thought about it. It's time for me to move on. There's nothing more I can do. And physically, it's over. I've given everything I've got. There's nothing left in me. So I was actually looking forward to being able to move on to the next phase of my life.
Right. Now, you know, it's funny, the same thing, Brent Johnson, he's a buddy of mine. He said the same thing. Nice to be able to kind of leave on your own terms.
Yeah, and it leaves you only with good memories, because I know a lot of people where their careers end, you know, prematurely of where they would want to. There's always that, I'd give anything to be out there, one more game. I never got done this or that. You know, I ticked more boxes than I knew I possibly could in my career. So I didn't leave things undone or dreams unfulfilled. It was, you know, I got everything accomplished. Made more friends than I could ever imagine, have memories to last me a lifetime, and a body that's relatively intact. So, I mean, that's all things being considered, that's pretty good.
Brendan Batchelor is quite the success story. He went from calling play-by-play for junior hockey games and the Vancouver Giants to straight-up play-by-play for the Vancouver Canucks. And how cool for a local guy as well, growing up in Coquitlam. And when Brendan was a guest, we got talking about his first sports memory.
That's a good question. I played hockey in my driveway from a very young age. I was given a pair of rollerblades for like my 4th birthday, I think. And I would go out in the driveway and stick handle and do the play-by-play while I was playing as well, because that was important. And you'd had to have the whole presentation. I had a minor hockey coach that always said that I was more about the show than about playing. And I guess sort of that has kind of worked its way to now me working in more of the entertainment side of things. But, I would go out and, we'd have to do the anthems, and we'd have to do the pregame ceremonies, and then we'd play the game, and I'd play with my dad or my mom, and I would always make my mom sing the anthems.
Oh, nice.
And one day she goes, you know them, you do it. Mm-hmm. And you do the play-by-play. And I said, okay, I guess I will. And that sort of is where my career sort of really began, in a very, very early young age. But those are probably some of my earliest and best memories, and where I played a lot, and then I went through and played minor hockey as well. And
talk to anyone who knows, and you'll hear that WWE Hall of Fame wrestler Bret the Hitman Hart is one of the best all time. He wrestled for 23 years, held championships in 5 decades from 1970 through the 2010s, 32 championships over that span of time, 17 with the WWE. Inducted into their Hall of Fame in 2006, and you'd think that surely he misses wrestling, right?
No, not really. I don't miss the physical part of it. I don't miss being body slammed, picked up, and thrown down on my head. I don't think I ever missed that. I think once I actually accepted that my career was over, I never missed the physical part of it.
And you can't talk about the NHL's best goaltenders of all time without Grant Fuhr's name coming up. Inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2003, destroyed teams in the 80s with the Oilers. Gretzky has said that he thinks that Fuhr is the greatest of all time. 5 Stanley Cups, 6 appearances in All-Star games. And when Fuhr was a guest, we talked about him playing with Gretzky and Messier and Anderson and Curry.
You know what? They were all good years, but being from just outside Edmonton, anytime you can play at home in front of your friends and family is obviously special. So I'm kind of partial to Edmonton.
Yeah. And what was that like, looking out? You're seeing Gretzky, there's Curry, there's Anderson, there's Messier. Like, wow.
Hey, I get the best seat in the house for it. So I think that's the fun part, is I get to see it every day. I get to see it at practice, so I knew what other goalies were facing.
Yeah.
Easily the best seat in the house to enjoy the show.
Sporting guest visits of the Toddcast podcast are powered by Joyce Heating Services, a family-owned and operated heating business serving the Lower Mainland since 1960. Online at joyceheating.com.
Getting out my mind, all these wanted sounds, no apologies, whiskey therapy, we're just killing time. Devil water, I've been running free, keeps my sanity, drinking ain't no crime, it's my alibi, we're just doing me. self-control. I got here on my own. At least I'm not alone. Stuck inside this carnival with clowns and kindred souls. It's where I call my home. Devil water, I got my devil water. Rinse and repeat is my destiny. I don't feel no shame going down in flames, dead on my knees. Devil water, abandoned by my self-control. I got here on my own. I'm not alone. Stuck inside this carnival with clouds of kindred soul. It's where I call my home. Devil water, yeah, I got my devil water. Kerosene taste, abandoned by my self-control. I got here on my own. At least I'm not alone. Stuck inside this carnival, oh, with clowns and kindred souls is where I call my home. Devil
now, listen to this on the Toddcast podcast.
NFL defensive tackle Christian Covington was born in Vancouver. You could say that football's in his blood. His dad, Grover Covington, is in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. It's no surprise that Christian clobbered at the high school level, same for the collegiate level, playing for Rice. He was drafted by the Houston Texans in 2015, 6th round, 216th overall, had 4 solid years with those guys. Then he signed a 1-year deal with the Dallas Cowboys. Now he's playing with the LA Chargers, still kicking ass and taking names, and we're also proud of what he's accomplished. And when Christian was a guest, we talked about binging Disney Plus and Parks and Rec, seeing The Weeknd in concert, the day that he got a call from the Dallas Cowboys. We talked about superhero movies like The Joker and Guardians of the Galaxy. We talked about family, realizing your potential, and Christian talked about sacrificing in order to accomplish your dreams. It's big. Listen to this.
Whatever you put your heart into being, that's what you're eventually going to do.
Right.
With me, it was my passion with football and the sacrifice that I was willing to do in order to accomplish my dreams. And that's something that I always take the time to be able to tell people.
Right.
And
right.
whenever I'm back home or whenever I'm around, the youth down in Texas with the many kids I've been able to be around and associate with, my one word that I always bring up is sacrifice. That's my special word. That's my S word.
Yeah.
Because I didn't, that's all I had. That's the only thing that was able to give me the edge to outplay guys in BC. That was what gave me the edge to outplay people, when I was at Vancouver College, when I went down to Rice, and eventually when I got drafted to Houston, now that I'm playing in Dallas. It's something that it's going to continue to drive me and, stay with me and be that one motivating driving factor with me as my career continues, as I try to extend my career for as long as possible. It's like, what am I able to give up and sacrifice and not, maybe not just do in order to be here that much longer or get get that extension, or to, extend my career by this X amount of years. And it goes from the littlest of things to the biggest of things, whether it's, literally gaining, oh, you know what, I'm going to go to bed an extra, I'm going to go to bed an hour early tonight. It could be something as little as that, or I'm going to get in an extra 2 hours of film study this weekend, or you know what, I'm going to do an extra 2 laps around the football field for my conditioning or something. It's whatever the case may be, little, medium, big or small. It doesn't matter the amount of sacrifice. As long as you're sacrificing something, the end result is going to be in your favor.
Listen to This on the Toddcast podcast is brought to you by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley, an ICBC approved repair shop. Find them online at TedcoRVSuppliesInc.com.
Poster bed where I used to rest my head, and now I have a different zip code every week. Sold everything I couldn't take in my 98 gold Protege, and I swear I don't regret a single thing. I had everything you work your whole life for. You can't take it with you when you die. Can't cash a check on the other side. There ain't no buying back your time, You can't take it with you when you go. We're all the same 6 feet below. There ain't no diamonds in the sky. Can't take it with you when you die. Where you die. Space, my whole life fits in one suitcase. I'm as permanent as dollar store tattoos. When people ask me if I miss the stuff I had, the way I lived, I tell them none of that's worth holding on to. No, you can't take it with you when you die. Can't cash a check on the other side. There ain't no buying back your time, You can't take it with you when you go. We're all the same 6 feet below. There ain't no diamonds in the sky. Can't take it with you when you die. When you die. So buy the shoes, eat the cake, take that trip, drink that drink, 'cause you can't take it with you, no, you can't take it with you. Sing that song, sing it loud, go all in, go all out, 'cause you can't take it with you, no, you can't take it with you when you die. Where you die. No, you can't take it with you when you die. Can't cash a check on the other side. There ain't no buying back your time, You can't take it with you where you go. We're all the same 6 feet below. There ain't no diamonds in the sky. Can't take it with you when you die. When you die. Oh, when you die. When you die.
Her name is Sadie Campbell, and you can't take it with you. Vancouverite now calling. I think she's been calling Nashville home for the better part of like 4 or 5 years now. Don't you just love to see your friends stretch out their wings and fly? She's absolutely kicking ass down there. Everything just getting better and better. You heard Kyle McCurney and his new song, kind of quasi-new, called Devil Water. That's on the EP that he just released a few months back now. We're big fans of Kyle on this podcast. He's one of those musical chameleons. It doesn't matter what the genre is. The kid absolutely nails it with each and every time. He is a fantastic performer. In fact, he jumped on Zoom with us right around the time he released that EP, played a few acoustic songs for us as well, which you can see right now at our YouTube channel. He's just effortless with everything that he does. I mean, it's truly amazing. Speaking of live music, we're back to it. Holy crap. Find show info at the indie scene, toddhancock.ca. Slowly but surely the scene is coming alive. It's alive. If you're playing one or you're going to check out something, let us know about it and we'll post it at our website. It's brought to you by Mystic Rhythms Rehearsal Studios, 40 plus years experience in the music industry. Find more through mysticrhythms.ca. They're thinking a September reopening, maybe even August. Okay, our final guests of this episode 251, our Canada Day 2021 special, and highlights from some of our past entertainment guests, all of whom are brought to you by Sacred Meds, the best craft cannabis and psilocybin dispensary in Canada. In fact, if you use the code TODCAST for 10% off your entire order, check them out through sacredmeds.com. Weed, mushrooms, gummies, caramels, tinctures, keef, chocolate bars, bath bombs, you name it, it is outstanding. Abby Simpson is an opinionated published author and blogger, and like us, she's a contributor to the Dean Blundell Network. She's a great follow on social media as well. Find her through Abby the Tweet on Twitter. She worked in promotions in radio for about 10 years and talked about how once she introduced the Tragically Hip in concert with her dad when she was just 3 years old.
So the first concert I went to for myself, like not because I would go to shows with I remember I helped introduce the Tragically Hip on stage when I was like 3. That was fun.
What? How awesome is that?
Yeah, because it was like really like, what was it? It would have been 88. So they were just breaking, if you will. Like it was like their early career, and they did a show at Harris Park in London, Ontario. And my dad was one of the music directors across the country who was like on their music right away. Right. And when they came and they did this show, I think it was a free show in Harris Park. My dad did the like introduction from the stage, and he brought me out with him. So I got to run into the microphone. The Tragically Hip.
Oh, that's so rad.
Yeah.
What a cool memory.
Definitely. So, but the first one I went to for myself was Hanson. Yes, it's true.
I'll have my editors edit that out.
Thank you.
Save
yeah,
some
there's
space.
a couple bleeps now, huh?
But that probably was still pretty good. Like they're a pretty good band, weren't they?
Yeah. Like they were that differed from like the NSYNCs and the Backstreet Boys of that era were that they were obviously a band, right? So
and they were all brothers, were they not? Like that's the Hanson.
They were, the Hanson brothers, but not the hockey ones.
The hockey ones far superior to the Hanson singing ones.
But also 12-year-old, 13-year-old me would have viciously disagreed with you. But they did. They wrote their own songs. They played their own instruments. When the industry gave up on them, 2-3 years after they broke through, they started their own record label. And continued doing their thing. Yeah, they continued doing their thing they're still doing it actually. I just gave up on them in 2008 when Zach Hanson said he was disappointed that Obama won the election.
Oh, you're like, that's it, I'm done.
I was already kind of like, all of their music's starting to sound the same. Yeah. I'm, moving past this a little bit. Then that happened and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I can't support
indicative of my taste in men because Zach Hanson was like my big teenage crush, like big.
Brent Butt is one of Canada's best comedians. He's been around since 1988. You'll maybe best know him as Brent Leroy in Corner Gas, which he created and produced. He's won 4 Canadian Comedy Awards, was honored with the Comedy Network Sir Peter Ustinov Award as well, and talked about how older Canadian shows like SCTV were top quality.
Where I grew up in Tisdale, Saskatchewan, we had all of 2 channels. And so the amount of options that you had were kind of limited, And SCTV was just this I'd never seen anything like it before. Like, so consistently funny and kind of off the wall in a way, but never in this avant-garde way that, like, they never sacrificed comedy for style or for being different. Being different was always, it felt like it was secondary to being hilarious. And sometimes you lose that with people who are trying new kinds of comedy and trying to be, whatever, edgy. I love that word. People throw edgy around a lot. Be wary of any comic who calls themselves edgy. That's my advice.
In their bio.
Yeah, I always say people who tell you how edgy they are, it's like when your uncle tells you how cool he is.
Retired Canadian astronaut Commander Chris Hadfield has led the life. An engineer and former Royal Canadian Air Force fighter pilot, he's flown 2 space shuttle missions and served as the commander of the International Space Station. He's also the first person to record an album in space. He talked about whether or not that you could see evidence of climate change when you're in outer space.
Yeah, it depends on what scale you mean. Climate change can be local, right? If 7 million people live in the same city, they change the local climate. Absolutely. It's smog all over the city. It's hotter than normal because of all the pavement. So you can see localized climate change. And then the Aral Sea, which used to be the 4th biggest sea on Earth, in the last generation, just in the last 25 years, we've dried that up. We've dried up the 4th biggest sea on Earth deliberately because of irrigation policies and to try and water the cotton. And so the 4th biggest sea on Earth is gone. And you can see it like a huge blister, a huge scar on Earth. And of course, it's wildly affected a whole region of Kazakhstan and the surrounding countries there. And the glaciers that used to rely on the lake effect to get snow, they're receding. So that's man-made climate change on a bigger scale. But globally, it's a little harder because it's slow, and you have to compare pictures from a few years back. And so globally, it's harder to see, just like it is on the surface, just because it's a creeping thing. Mm-hmm. But when you compare the astronauts' pictures of glaciers or of where the edges of deserts are, or the Lake Chad even, it's obvious what's happening, and it's easy to stick your head in the sand. But for those of us who can actually see the world, you can't get 7 billion people breathing in and out and eating and turning the lights on and flushing their toilets. You don't get that for free. That definitely has an effect, and we need to think about it.
And actor Jonathan Torrens is a longtime friend of the podcast. J-Rock from the Trailer Park Boys. That's how we met. He actually co-hosted a radio show in Vancouver with me for a couple of weeks, but he's done so much more, of course, over the years than just J-Rock. Co-hosting Street Sense, Jono-Vision, podcasting, the Taggart and Torrens podcast, and he talked about the art of interviewing.
The craft of interviewing, because I'm naturally curious, or as we say in PEI, nosy, is something that genuinely interests me. And you're one of the good ones because you realize that as the old saying goes, the interviewer is the star of the show, but the interviewee has to be the star of the interview. And I think it's most compelling when the interviewer uses silence as a tool, because the laws of social grace that apply to a conversation don't apply to an interview. So if you don't jump in to fill the space and keep it going, that's probably when I'm going to keep talking and give you my best stuff.
Toddcast Podcast entertainment guest visits are powered by Sacred Meds, the best cannabis and psilocybin dispensary in Canada. Available online at sacredmeds.com. Use promo code TODCAST at checkout for 10% off everything in store.
Till the sunrise, feeling traces of the bass racing up I said a bongi, 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 bongi. I said a bongi, 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 bongi. I said a bongi, bongi. I said a bongi, bongi. I said a bongi, bongi. In your hip the slide. I said a bongi, bongo. When a bubble provide. I said a bongi, bongi. Show me something and I wrap it up. I said I wrap it up. I said a bongi, bongi. Heart be thumping, body rumbling, and it's really something. Said a bongi, bongi. I said a bongi, bongi. I said a bong, say bong.
Start throwing around a horn section in a band and you got me. They are called Disco Funeral, and a new song for them, Bungie. I bet you'll see them playing some live shows in the not too distant future. How incredible is it that this pandemic and the restrictions are starting to be lifted? People who believe in science are helping their fellow man getting vaccinated. Coming around again, and it feels so good, doesn't it? Hearing that come out of my mouth. And on that positive note, I think we'll wrap up this Canada Day 2021 special edition podcast. My name is Todd Hancock. Again, thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard, please tell your friends, subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and on YouTube. Check out all of the interviews, all the live band performances. We're also on the Dean Blundell Network out of Toronto at deanblundell.com. Comment and rate the podcast. It does help out. Search it out through Toddcast Podcast. Of course, a huge thanks to all of our amazing sponsors. You can find links to all sponsor websites at toddhancock.ca. If you'd like to sponsor the podcast, you can for as little as $10 a day. Contact info is at the homepage. If you help us find a sponsor, we'll give you a commission based on the ad buy. If you think you know a business that makes sense, send them our way. Till next time, don't be an asshole. Nobody wants to be around that. Have fun, play hard, and most of all, believe in yourself.
The Toddcast Podcast. Keep in touch with Todd through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and bookmark toddhancock.ca.
Now, before you go hunting for something else to listen to, let me make it easy. I'm Mike Carruthers, host of a podcast called Something You Should Know, and I speak with experts about fascinating things that affect your life, from human behavior, relationships, health, science, and everyday mysteries. We've been downloaded millions of times because every episode teaches you something you'll be talking about later. Open up Something You Should Know and give it one episode. You might just find your new favorite podcast.
Hi, listeners. We want to tell you about a podcast we love. It's called Rebel Girls, formerly known as Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls. It's about real-life women who are changing the world with their courage, creativity, and big, bold ideas. Want to know how Taylor Swift became a superstar? Or hear how Simone Biles became the greatest athlete of all time? From immersive stories to heartfelt interviews to super smart advice, Rebel Girls brings you stories that will get you fired up to become your best self. There are over 400 episodes for you to explore, with new episodes every week. So check it out. Listen to Rebel Girls wherever you get your podcasts. And find us on youtube.com/rebelgirls. And whatever you do, stay rebel.
For 8 years, we've been asking the same question over and over again. How did this happen? My name's Mandy.
And I'm Melissa, and we're the hosts of Moms and Mysteries, the true crime podcast with over 55 million downloads.
We're two Florida moms who are obsessed with mysteries. Each week, we do deep dives into fascinating true crime stories.
We cover everything from infamous cases like Casey Anthony
to the bizarre and complex crimes right here in our home state, like the shocking murder of FSU professor Dan Markel.
We bring you the facts, but with warmth and wit you'd only get from two friends who have been hooked on mysteries since childhood.
Join us for new episodes of Moms and Mysteries every Tuesday and Thursday.
Listen to Moms and Mysteries on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast.